Tim, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good to see you again.
Glad to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about something rather special that you came up with last season. The media will probably remember. Tim Ritter's film, Wicked Games, a thriller. Produced by you in Palm Beach County. It made all the newspapers, everything that you were trying to do as a local aspiring filmmaker. And now we're sort of going to be together and talk about what's happened to Wicked Games.
Right.
Tell us a little bit of the story now that the film is out in video stores throughout South Florida, packaged very neatly and professionally. What's the story of this movie, Tim?
Well, we finished it when I was on the last show. We were in the editing stages, and since that time we are a production and distribution company. As I mentioned before, we were planning to distribute it ourselves if necessary, and we did do that. We went out and made boxes. Chaz Balin, a great horror author and artist out of California, did a really cool hip front box cover art for the movie, which is a little bit, promises a little bit more than the movie delivers, but that's all, you know, in advertising and everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
But generally what we did is we connected with some of the same sub-distributors and wholesalers that we dealt with Killing Spree.
Which is a film you had made previously
right,
to
a previous
this.
movie, which we self-distributed before Magnum Entertainment out of California picked up the rights.
Right.
And basically we went out and solicited the movie to local video stores in our cars, and then we connected with some of the national people. And we've also got a direct mail ad campaign coming out now, in which we're going to reach 1.5 million consumers with consumer impressions on the movie, where we're going to sell directly to the people, you know, that are interested in this sort of product, you know.
You are typically an entrepreneur in taking on this project. How difficult is it to find a mainstream distributor to help you along? Someone who might come in and say, I'll buy the whole project. Thank you very much indeed. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost impossible with the way the studios have sort of blockaded the independents. I mean, you've got your five or six major studios, and you've got your mini studios like Roger Corman and Academy, TriStar, Vidmark, those sort of people. Not TriStar, Trimark. But basically then there's the lower end, the Z-grade product people like myself, PM Entertainment, people like that, as we were talking about earlier. Axis, I believe you mentioned. And
Axis, yes, you and I were talking about Axis International.
Basically, you're on your own out there. So we push our own product, and we put a lot of time and effort into doing that, whereas if some distributor would pick up the movie, it would probably get lost in the shuffle. So I feel, since, you know, I made the movie and local people made the movie with me, I think the type of attention that we all deserve and need is only going to be given to us if we peddle the product, so to speak.
Is the end result, if perhaps only theoretically, to have someone in fact pick it up from you, to form an alliance with a major distributor, or is that impossible for an independent filmmaker in the provinces like Florida?
Well, for a movie of this low-budget caliber, even though the inspiration and passion behind the project is, you know, you can't put a price on that, as everybody involved with the movie knows, as you know, you were involved with the whole thing. But
yes.
I don't think it's a film that anybody's going to pick up in that respect. I think it's more to basically platform ourselves up to the next level, get ourselves out in the open, you know, make sure people know who we are, that we mean business, that we can do this on a small scale, and also keep control because of the problems we had with the previous movie that I did, Truth or Dare. The distribution, yeah, you get ripped off, so we want to control that aspect.
Well, does this also have to do with content of the film, because you're not making 4 weddings and a funeral, a mainstream, again, love story? You're making thrillers with violence?
When you look at today's movies, I mean, Steven Seagal, all these die-hard, Lethal Weapon type of movies, they're basically on the same level of violence as that we're doing here. We may have a little bit more lingering shots and a little bit more spurting blood in our movies, but movies today, Natural Born Killers, I mean, you look at the movies like that these days, I mean, they're very violent, so I can't see where this goes beyond over the deep end or beyond any new territory that your average Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, you know, goes. We don't strive to push the envelope that far, because this movie does come out in mainstream, you know, mainstream wholesalers and distributors pick it up and sell it to mom and pop video stores across the country. So, you know, it's not something that we want to go out and be so outrageous that everybody's going to be offended by it. We try to keep it commercially acceptable, and this one is probably about as far as you can go. Speaking of commercial, you know, type product, this is as far as you can go pushing that envelope and not get banned across the world.
Yeah.
Is, you know.
Well, also film technique in an independent film, because you're not dealing with a multi-million-dollar budget. and 70mm film. Sometimes the look of the film perhaps is a little more grainy, perhaps, than others, is what you're trying to do. But then in Natural Born Killers, that was one of his techniques of the film,
it was
is to tell the story
and I think
looking
film,
like an independent film because of the story content. So it's interesting how things flip around.
It's good because this is a major studio. It's Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone,
always in controversy. He's very political, and he's very hip with everybody who's in the film business. Everybody loves what he does.
Right.
I think this film is going to help people like myself and you and local filmmakers like Frank Eberling and other people like that, because it says that video is acceptable as a medium, and I think a lot of distributors are saying that.
Well, one thing that was rather appealing in the film, and you did get notoriety for, is that it was filmed in Palm Beach County, and that you told me before we went to tape that people had sent you letters saying, enjoyed the film, thanks very much, but the locale.
Right.
South Florida, Palm Beach County.
Right. We spotlighted local parks, local beaches, just the whole flavor of South Florida.
The location,
the piers, boats in the background. Just a very interesting visually movie for people who live, say, in Ohio.
Yes.
They're looking at that like, wow, I like it's sunny, it's neat, it's
a horror film for tourist development.
Right, and it's all shot in broad daylight. Exactly. But I've had letters of people saying, I like the movie. It just looks like an interesting place to vacation where our family is planning to go there after viewing this. I mean, we've had all kinds of, in our direct mail sales, we've had all kinds of professional people who, order this sort of movie. I mean, doctors, lawyers, you name it. I mean, it's just, the response is, the fans are out there for this sort of thing. So.
The road is long and hard, but you work very, very well at it. When would you see, in essence, the light of day on this film? Is there a time, perhaps, in your own theory where on this date, if all goes well, the film is now in the black and we go forward?
The distribution process, the movie came out in April. We started in our cars, going around the local video
So now we're 6 months into the story.
Right, that's how we want to measure it.
it.
6 months into... Right now, it took about 3 months to connect with national wholesalers. Then you have to set up revolving accounts and that sort of thing, and credit, and 60-day cycles, and all kinds of red tape. So, it takes probably about a year for all that to come through and get your money back on that and everything. And now we're entering the next phase this October with the direct mail campaign. So, I'd say it takes anywhere between a year and a half to self-distribute a movie nationally, and we're also in Canada already, and we're looking to get into...
So it's all of America, now bleeding off into Canada, and 6 months into the story, hoping that in a year's time or two, it's profitable. The whole adventure has been profitable. And then I suppose notoriety, you're picking that up as you go, and maybe someone will come round.